Whether you are 16 or 76, if you've got an iPhone or some kind of smartphone and the right amount of motivation, you can make $100,000 a year from your house, online or offline. All you have to do is listen to the rest of Small Business Daily, and we're going to tell you at least 18 or more ways that you can make that $100,000 a year. This is Randy Kirk. I hope that you'll enjoy what we're going to talk about today. And if this subject interests you, would you push the like button? And maybe you'll want to subscribe, because the next 2 days, we're going to continue to cover this same subject matter. It's going to take me 3 days to go through all 18 different kinds of businesses. Now, we're going to get really specific here, and you're going to be shocked at some of the kinds of businesses where you could open today with zero money, not a dollar, start the business, all through online activity, all through online marketing. You could build yourself up to $100,000 a year. Impossible? Not at all. So let's dig right into it. But the truth is, before we can talk about the specifics of these businesses, an online home-based business for somebody who's a teenager, or whether you're in your 20s or 30s, it doesn't really matter. What's really going to matter is whether you have the skill sets, the education, the knowledge, the abilities, and the motivation to be able to accomplish this result. You see, starting a small business doesn't necessarily happen easily. Sometimes it takes a lot of work to get it off the ground. Now, I've picked these 18 different small businesses based on the fact that in most cases, they're not going to require any certification, any license, any specific degree in order to do these items that I've come up with. But they are still going to require hard work. If you're only wanting to work 15 or 20 hours a week, or you only stay 9 to 5, you can't work before 9 in the morning, and you can't work after 5 in the evening, it may not work for you. So take that into consideration with regard to what we're going to talk about. On the other hand, many of these same small businesses, if you only wanted to work half-time, you could make $25,000 or $40,000 a year part-time, but it's still going to take some work. It doesn't really matter what kind of business you're talking about. There is hard work required to get started. So what else do you need? Well, you might need some kind of talents with regard to the internet. In fact, you'll need to have at least some basic understanding of the internet, and you may have to take some online courses, which will almost always be free, with regard to how to get better at manipulating some of the marketing on the internet. That could be something like Google My Business, or Yelp, or social media, or YouTube, like I'm doing right now. So learning how to do those is going to take some time. And from time to time, you may want to spend a couple of dollars to get even better, more advanced teaching. However, there's plenty of stuff online that's absolutely free that will get you the basics that you need to at least get your business off the ground. What else are you going to need? Well, you're going to need the skill sets. So in some cases, some of the things I'm going to show you might require that you're a good artist, or have some graphic art background, or possibly you're really good working with people. Other times it might be you're really good working with tools, or maybe you're a musician. Maybe you have some other kind of talent. Maybe you're a writer. So these are the kinds of talents, but in every single case, the talent is only going to be part of the reason for your success. Because if you can manage others, sometimes you don't need any talent at all. So the talent would be managing others. Are you good at delegating? This is going to be important no matter what business you try to go into. Or if you're going to manage others, you have to learn to delegate. So are you going to trust others to be able to do their job once you've trained them? Are you going to be able to select people wisely that are going to be able to help you in this enterprise? And again, obviously, if you start hiring people, there's going to be some outlay of money. But none of these opportunities, none of these 18 are going to suggest that you hire anybody on day one. All of them are going to show you the ability to ramp up without spending a dime to at least some level, and that at some level, you can use some of that earnings in order to ramp the business even higher. So those are some of the skill sets and some of the things you need to know. And if you take a look at my book, When Friday Isn't Payday, it talks about a lot of these characteristics, and it gives you an understanding from the beginning of the book. It talks about how to think about yourself, how to self recognize what you're good at, what you're not, and to make allowances for that as you dive into a small business opportunity. Okay, enough said about the general background stuff. Let's talk about the first kind of opportunity that I'm going to suggest to you today. And that is, we're going to assume initially that you have some music talent. You've taken lessons on piano, guitar, flute, oboe. So you've taken some instrument in the course of your life, and you're good enough that you could teach others. Now, if you're not good enough today that you could teach others, could you take the foundational effort that you've made so far, go online, again for free, take additional free lessons? There isn't an instrument on the planet that isn't being taught online for free. So could you take what you already know, go online, learn more, learn some foundational principles of music that you may not have picked up, so that you become adept enough to teach beginners. You see, there's a massive shortage of people to teach musical instruments, in particular, piano and guitar. So if you've had piano lessons, maybe you've had 2 or 3 or 4 years of piano lessons, if you've had 2 or 3 years of guitar lessons, or maybe you've had a couple of years of guitar lessons but you've spent a lot of time practicing your chords and becoming pretty good at playing, or you're a bassist, and everybody knows it doesn't take any skill to play bass. Sorry, bassists out there. So, but if you have that much musical talent, that's all we're talking about. And if you have any ability to be able to teach, to be able to have the kind of kindness and courtesy and character to be able to teach others, then you can teach others how to play the piano, play the guitar, play the bass. Those are the 3 biggest ones. Yes, you can make money. You can probably make $100,000 a year. If you continue to listen to what I've got to say, you can probably make $100,000 a year by taking your musical skills, even if you're an oboist. I just took oboe lessons last year. It was a lot of fun. And I can tell you exactly how it was that I found out about the oboe teacher, and I took those lessons online. Okay, so let's talk about how you would do this. Let's talk about why it is such a big opportunity. Most music teachers don't have that marketing sense. Most business people don't have any marketing sense. So if you know something about music and you're willing to spend the time to market your company, even a little bit of time to learn how to market your company using Google My Business, Yelp, and a little bit maybe of social media and YouTube, you can start to get students, okay? And this is going to be a key to a lot of what we're going to talk about down the line. So I don't want to repeat this over and over again. Those are going to be 4 of your key places to market. You're going to market on Google My Business. You're going to market on Yelp. You're going to market on YouTube. And you're going to market on your favorite social media channel, maybe 2. If you're a Facebook person, great. If you're a Instagram person, fantastic. If you're a TikTok person, wherever you're fitting into the world, and it may affect demographics of who you're going after. If you're going after 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds and 16-year-olds, or 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds, or their parents of 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds, that's going to determine which social media is going to be the most likely one for you to get benefit of. But YouTube works for everybody. So YouTube is why I mentioned that 3rd. And Google My Business and Yelp are just critical. They're the absolute key. So if you can teach and you have that music skill, or you go back and maybe it would only take you 3 months or 6 months to move yourself up to the place where you have those foundational musical principles that you would need to teach a beginner. Now you just need to go online and talk about yourself. That's one of the ways. I'm going to talk about a number of different ways that you can speak to your audience and get them to find out about you and come and start taking lessons. So number 1 would be Google My Business. So foundational, fundamental. We have a number of videos up about Google My Business. You can go there right now. Notice the card up there about where you can go and learn way more about how to put your name up on Google My Business. It's not that hard, but spend the time. Spend a few hours learning how to do it the right way, and you'll get big dividends from that. Then get up on Yelp, and there's more information available on Yelp. And you don't have to pay for your advertising on Yelp. You just need to get up on Yelp so that you're visible there as a music instructor or as a piano instructor. Oh, I'm sorry that I've commonly forgotten to mention voice. So sometimes you can make this kind of money with voice instruction as well. You have to be pretty good. You have to be a little more aggressive. It's not as easy as piano or guitar, but it is possible. All right, so you're up on Google My Business. You're up on Yelp. The next step is to start talking about yourself on social media. So you're going to put up some short examples of your work. You might get your cousin or your sister, little sister, or your grandchild or somebody, and give them lessons and take some video of yourself showing them how to play. You need something in there to give it evidence that you know what you're talking about. And you would use those videos for both YouTube and for your social media. And then you could talk about on social media about your philosophy, your methods. You can talk about that on YouTube as well. That's basically all you need to do. The more of it you do, the better it's going to be in terms of inviting folks in. But just going up on your own Facebook page without even doing a business page and mentioning to the world that you're now going to give voice instructions, you're going to give piano instructions, just that alone, you're probably going to find somebody's going to know somebody who's ready for their child to begin instructions. By the way, there's a big market for adults as well. I'm an adult. I just took oboe. So it's not just about kids. There are adults all over the place who want to begin to learn another instrument or to become better at the instrument that they played when they were in high school, or just want something new to do. So you can become very successful with this. Now, I'm going to talk about a little more of the other ways to market in a minute, but what I want to talk about right now is how to price. So in most markets, you can charge between $20 and $35 a half hour for this training. Between $20 and $35 a half hour, depending on your skill, depending on how good you sell yourself, how good your marketing is. But wherever you start, let's say you start at $20 an hour because you want to be at or under the market. And over time, you can raise your prices. If you're charging $20 a half hour, that means that you're charging $40 an hour. Now, there's some prep time, and you're not going to get every minute of every hour filled. But if you're making $40 an hour, then you only need to work about 50 hours a week to make $100,000 a year. So that would be, if your students are meeting with you weekly, that means you need about 100 students. It sounds like a lot, but you might be surprised at how quickly you can pull together 100 students. So that's not going to happen in one day. You're going to get a few students, and then those students are going to recommend you. You're going to get more, and you're going to keep this process up. If you can get the parents to do videos where they're recommending you on YouTube and on Facebook, etc., and they go on to Google My Business and Yelp and do reviews, you'll be surprised at how quickly you can start to amass a larger and larger group. Now, here are some other methods. And again, think about this. Everybody that's listening, think about this in terms of whatever small business you want to go into. You've got to find the market. You've got to find where the parents are and where the adults are that are thinking about learning to play an instrument. Whatever the business is, whatever the product is, that's what you're going to do. Find that audience. So a few audiences you can go to. You can go down to the schools, go to the grade schools, the junior highs, the high schools, even the junior colleges, talk to the people in the music department, or if there's no music department, talk to the principal, talk to anybody that'll talk to you, and let them know that you're going to be giving lessons in that area. You'd be shocked at how excited most of them will be that they can now have a music teacher to recommend in the area. You can go down to the community centers. Almost every small town and big city has one or more community centers where they're giving lessons. They may be having basketball groups that meet there, or soccer, football, et cetera, et cetera. But then they'll also have other lessons that they're giving. And commonly, if they aren't already, they would like to give group music lessons. They commonly charge $10 a week for these group music lessons, and you get a part of that. So, but why do you do it? You don't do it for the money. You do it so that you're teaching a bunch of youngsters how to begin playing a bongo or playing a tambourine or playing, a wind instrument. They're just learning how to do a little bit of rhythm and to make a noise. And you're in the teaching of this, their parents are going to be there, you're going to be interacting, and it's going to be a great way for you to generate some more interest in what you're doing. Plus, you can take some video that goes up on YouTube, that goes up on your social media as well. So those are a couple of different ways that you can automatically go out and start finding your client base if you're going to give music lessons. So that's number one. You can make $100,000 a year just by getting yourself up somewhere around, well, it doesn't have to be, by the way, it doesn't have to be 100 students. Some of those students are going to take an hour. So it may be less than 100 students, but somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 70 students, you should be able to make $100,000 a year. Now let's talk about the alternative. You don't want to do 60 or 70 students. That's a lot. And you're not teaching piano or guitar. You, in fact, are an oboe instructor. And there's only 3 people in your entire county that would care about oboe enough to take instructions, maybe 6. Anyway, so what are you going to do? Well, first of all, you're going to go online. So that's going to be a great way to do it. And we will give a link below to at least one company that does online advertising for music instructors. That's how I found my music instructor. And they get a cut out of the music instructor's income, but they're finding folks for you all over the country, even all over the world. So that's a way that you can increase your numbers, but maybe make it a little easier on yourself. Another way is you can become the one who's finding the opportunities for other music instructors. So you've got other folks in the neighborhood, other people around you who are teaching, drums or teaching guitar, trumpet or any kind of saxophone, some of these less popular instruments. And so, but they're also not willing to work as hard as they need to work. They're not willing to get on Google My Business and on Yelp and to shoot the videos and all the rest of that kind of stuff. So you become the person who sends them students, and you're the one that's collecting a piece of the action off of the students that you send them. This has been done forever. My first real job that I got a paycheck for was when I was 12 years old. I worked at Don Fetty Music. And Don Fetty Music had 3 rooms, and they had instructors in these 3 rooms, and they charged the instructors for the students that they were able to generate for them. So this is a very normal way to do business, and you can set up all the Google My Business and all the Yelp and everything else for other instruments, and then the people that are calling you, you are going to outsource this to these other individuals. Speaking of outsourcing, you can outsource the Google My Business setups and the Yelp setups and the YouTube, all that. There are people on Fiverr that will do all that for you, and it only costs a few dollars. So if doing it for $0 is not that critical to you and you have the dollars to invest, then you can get all that stuff done for you and done professionally by folks that do it for a living just by going on Fiverr and getting that done. You can find a link to Fiverr down below in the description. So if you begin to get my drift, here is a basic skill set that a huge percentage of the population has. I don't know if you do, but a huge percentage of the people have taken some kind of music lessons in their lifetime, and they may be able to address any missing part that they need to be able to get to beginner level. Now, maybe you're quite a talented musician and you don't want to just teach beginners. You want to teach older individuals who have graduated from the teacher that teaches the beginning music, and they want to move on to something more sophisticated. That's certainly an option for you as well. And you're going to be able to charge more for that more sophisticated player. So that's the music teacher opportunity. Now, there's a lot of opportunities that are very, very similar to that. I don't know how much time I'm going to be able to take today. We may only get 2 done today, but we'll see. So let's talk about another similar kind of opportunity that you may be surprised about. So let's say that you're really good at some kind of woodworking or steelworking or some kind of electrical stuff or plumbing. You don't have a electrician certificate. You don't have a plumber's license. You don't have any licensing for any of this stuff. But did you know that in almost every state in the union, a handyman can do any of those things that the handyman chooses to do without a license? Handymen are in massive demand, massive demand. And I bet you wouldn't be surprised to find out that handymen don't commonly go on Google My Business or Yelp or shoot videos or do any of those things in order to get their visibility up. So once again, if you're that guy, you're the handy person that would love to go in and help people make their sliding glass doors work better, help them set up. Just recently, Mark Cuban said that the number one job he would recommend to everybody right now to start a new business would be to help people set up their smart house, set up smart lights, smart televisions, get their computers hooked up to all the things around the house. Nobody knows how to do that stuff. It's always a pain to figure it out. And so you could get paid to help people set up their smart house. Whatever it is that you like to do, if you like to design rooms, if you like to help set up IKEA furniture, that's a job right there. That'd be a good one. So there's a bunch of stuff like that handymen do. Install the toilet. I mean, a handyman can install a toilet easy. Install a shower head. A lot of folks just don't have the ability to do that kind of stuff. In fact, I'm sitting here in a vaulted ceiling. I've got lights, a lot of lights that are way out of my reach. I happen to have a very tall ladder, but there's some of those, I don't want to go up on that ladder to change those lights. A handyman is the one who comes in and changes those lights. So there's a bunch of those kind of jobs. And guess what? Yes, you can make 40, 50. I've paid as high as $65 an hour for a handyman. A plumber is going to be $150, $200 an hour. So if I can get a handyman for $50 or $60 an hour to come in and take out the old toilet, put in the new toilet, I'm going to save a bunch of money. So if you're handy, and sometimes you might be handy, but you could become even more handy. You could learn, you can go online. I have had handymen. The guy I was paying $65 an hour had his computer out and was looking up on YouTube how to install a ceiling fan in an aluminum sunroom, because he'd never done it before. So he was learning as he went. He had the basic skills, but he needed to look it up on YouTube to find out how to do it. Nothing wrong with that. That could be you. You could be making at least $40 an hour, probably 50 or 60 in the market today as a handyman. And what do you need to do? You need to be pleasant. You need to be easy to get along with. You need to be able to take abuse, because no matter how good a job you do, some people are going to abuse you. And critically, as I've mentioned before, you need to be able to go online and take care of these marketing aspects, and then contemplate what are some more marketing aspects you might be able to do. A simple brochure that you print out on your own home computer, hand it out in a neighborhood, might be all you need. Maybe you put it under the windshields. You may not need that much, but you can go down to Home Depot or to Lowe's and you can put your business cards out at those locations. You can start talking to some of the people at Lowe's that you're available. You'll be there all the time anyway, picking up supplies. So you get to know the people in the store and hand them your business card, and they might be able to recommend you. You can put your business card up at the grocery store or the drugstore, where sometimes they have these community billboards up. You can post your stuff there. There's a bunch of different ways that you can get the word out about what you do, but that's another $100,000 a year opportunity that you can do working from home, no dollars down. Yeah, you have to buy some tools, but probably not very many. But you probably already have them if you're handy. So that's another great way to do it. Now, like before, if you can manage others, Now, when you start to get an overflow, you can hire other people to go with you or to go instead of you to do some of the jobs. Once you trust them, now you can be paying them $25 an hour, you're charging $60 an hour, and that's another way to quickly get yourself up into the 100,000 plus per year category. So I think that's all we're going to have time for today is going to be those two, but we're going to get into a whole bunch more tomorrow. And so I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on Small Business Daily.